Dissonance, brackets, waiting to be swiftly pulled into tune. A Marvel fanfiction written by O2 Blues on AO3. The words are alight on Peter's lips the moment he arrives at the cabin for the weekend. I want to see the stars. Tony doesn't stop his stirring. He's attempting to make a mac and cheese as a side for dinner because Morgan kept begging him and god damn it her puppy eyes rival Peter's, but he does shoot him a glance. The kid sits at the table, backpack tossed carelessly to the left, juice box held to his mouth, his hair messier than ever. God, there's no way he's almost 18. Nice opening to the conversation, buddy. Really makes me feel like you care about how my day was. I was just texting you during school, and before that, Mr. Stark, Peter points out. I'm allowed to have random conversation starters. Maybe so, Tony says, putting the spoon down he was using and heading over to where Peter is. He ruffles his curls, smiling at how they bounce back to where they used to be. But for someone who still calls me Mr. Stark, you'd think you'd be more polite. Peter blushes. I was joking, sheesh. Tony shakes his head. So, you want to go see some stars? Can't you just, look up at night? Isn't that how it kind of works? That's not what I meant, he groans, dragging out the last word for emphasis. I meant we were learning so much about space and stuff in science and the stars, and I realized I never really get to see them from Queens because of the light pollution and stuff. So I figured out here it'll be cooler, and Peter let his head drop, suddenly feeling insecure. Forget it, it was dumb. Tony immediately wants to kick himself. Jesus, the kid was excited about something. And here he is, a certified asshole without even realizing it. Hey, no, I was being a dick. It's not dumb, okay? I get it. Peter looks up at him. You do? I do. Tony confirms, inspiration striking him then, and he wonders how annoyed Pepper would be with him if he took one of the freshly washed blankets from the dryer. Just a little, apparently, because Pepper smiles when he tells her what it's for, and Peter brightens any situation, it seems. The kid spends the rest of the day talking with Morgan and helping her build some of the elaborate castles that only she knows the intricacies to. So he doesn't notice when Tony goes down to the lake, sets out a blanket, a flashlight, and some comfortable pillows. It was going to be hell for his back, but being a parent means making certain sacrifices, like losing an arm while saving the world, or forcing a very good attempt at a birthday cake despite it tasting like cardboard. Thank you, Morgan. Besides, a little back pain is worth it to see the look on Peter's face when he takes him outside a little after the sun sets. Oh man, he breathes. You didn't have to do this. I just... Kidding? No, you weren't, Tony snorts. It's a beautiful night, windy, but in the autumn way that makes him stay out for hours. He lowers himself to the ground with a minimal grunting. Sit down, look up, and then tell me you were kidding. Peter sits down, looking up at the sky, and promptly gasps, Oh my god! He sounds like a 4th-year-old brought to the candy store, and it's possibly the most endearing thing Tony's ever heard in his entire life. They're so bright. Look, Mr. Stark. I am, kid, he says, amused. He's not really. He knows firsthand how amazing the stars are, because he spent plenty of nights out here on the porch by himself, with nothing but his thoughts for company. It's peaceful and calming, and part of the reason why he chose his house in the first place. But they're not a jaw-dropping sight anymore. The novelty wore off, as it does in most things. Clearly hasn't for Peter, though, because he's staring at what's above him, absolutely blown away. I've never seen them so bright before, he says. Wow, this is incredible. Tony smiles at the enthusiasm. You know the constellations? Peter turns to him, eyes wide. Tony finds it a little hard to find his voice when you see the way he's looking at him, like he personally went out and hung up the stars for him and him alone. No, he admits after a second. Ben tried to teach me, but I didn't care that much at the time. It sounds like a normal response, but there's an undercurrent of pain there, a ripple of regret. It drives Tony to wrap an arm around his shoulders. He gently moves a lock of hair out of his face with so much love and fondness in his chest it's practically beginning to ache. Hey, that's okay. Peter shrugs, going quiet. The sadness goes out as quickly as it came, and he straightens considerably. You should teach me. Tony slowly stops talking midway through a spiel about the Casatopia, and sleepiness takes a hold of him. Peter doesn't nudge him either. It's not an unpleasant silence, the opposite actually. It's warm and content, his hand absent-mindedly curling through the kid's hair, a habit he picked up so long ago is ingrained into him just as much as anything else. "Hey, Mr. Stark?" Tony jumps, pulled back before he could slip into dreamland. "Yeah?" I'm glad I'm alive." He doesn't have to ask what that means. Ever since everything that's happened, Peter's been struggling with it all, which isn't surprising, not in the slightest. With the amount of things he's gone through, it's a wonder he's still standing. Tony doesn't know whether to be proud of him or place him in a padlocked room where nothing had ever hurt him again. He looks down at Peter, but the kid's eyes aren't on him this time. They're on the sky, infused with the light of galaxies. His face is illuminated by the moon, the soft glow of it making it look so unreal. But he is real. He's more real than anything else in this world. Against all odds, Peter was real. So is Tony. Worlds pulled them apart, but fate brought them together again. "I'm glad you're here too."